Hey everyone, welcome to the EsportsNext podcast. I am thrilled to be joining as the host for season 3 along with my co-hosts. We are going to be interviewing speakers, sponsors, and attendees of the Esports Trade Association conference in Chicago. So if you're looking to understand who will be at the conference and what they're all about, tune in, come join us. All right, welcome to another episode of the EsportsNext podcast. It is our pleasure to welcome Nicolas Abelé, who is the co-founder and CEO of Sonix. Welcome to the show, Nick.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Absolutely.
Yes,
We're happy
I
to have
am
you
also here. I was going to say, I want to introduce myself. I'm Lindsay Boss. I'm the co-host of today's episode. Super excited to be here with you both.
Yes, we are joined by our wonderful co-host, Lindsay Poss, here alongside Nick and myself. Nick, before we get started, why don't you give us a brief overview of Sonix and the importance of audio?
Yeah, Sonix is kind of ultimate audio app communication for gamers, in a sense that we are kind of a spin-off from a tech university, and we develop an app which enables communication to be extremely fast. Typically, when you're in a team, you need to communicate with your teammates, and you want to experience the same feeling and same speed as if you were in the same room, but once you're playing remote from far away. And that's what Sonix is about. We cut the latency, we cut the lag by a factor of 10x. It's a big breakthrough, and it works for gamers. I mean, made for gamers, but obviously, I mean, everybody can use it, and you get a better experience than with a Zoom, much closer to what you experience in real life when talking to a friend in the same room.
That's awesome. And yeah, that as someone who is very familiar with some of the difficulties in communicating, particularly via Discord, that's really, really exciting. Can you just share a little bit about what makes you passionate and excited about working in the games industry?
I mean, gaming industry is booming. That's what is driving. There's everything to do. I mean, there's a lot of things that have been done for sure, but I mean, everything still it's far from being as big as the sports industry, but it's becoming as big. And so, what is nice really is to see all the passion people put into it, into making things happening, all the way from the editor to the team themselves. That's pretty exciting. And what is extremely exciting as well is that where there's no barrier, so everybody picks the right technologies, the right things. There's no history too much. If you have the best technology out there, then you'll be selected, and people pick you up, and that can grow pretty fast. So it's very energetic environment. It's kind of a startup environment, but through an entire industry.
Yeah, I love that. There's so much opportunity because we're in the wild, wild west here. We don't have the foundation really set. And so aspects like audio, being able to communicate well. One thing that I noticed about Sonix is the low latency aspect of that. And we talk a lot about diversity and inclusion and underrepresented groups or people who may not have access to the technologies that are necessary to compete. And sometimes it's that internet network or that signal, right? The digital divide that can keep us from all participating. Talk a little about the low latency aspect of the audio with Sonix.
Yeah, and so what is key here is that we don't need the hardware. So people don't need to buy anything. I mean, it's just a pure software solution. So it's run on every computer. So even if you have like my computer, a 10 years old computer, it's still running pretty nicely on this. So you don't need to have the extreme computer. You don't need to be high-end and to spend a lot of money. It's for everybody. It's really for everybody there. And that's, we want to give an edge without, a matter of pricing aspect. And that's part of it. The second part of it is that we really design our app so that's a small community base. And that's very important to avoid toxicity. I mean, as you know, in gaming, especially for women, it's pretty high toxicity there. And that's true if you're on Discord with 1,000 people on the same server, that people start to chat to each other and then they don't know each other. So it's the internet, so it's much more likely to say bad words there. Whereas in Sonic, it's really meant to have crews of 5, 10, 20 people maximum. That's really designed for it. So even if you don't know everybody when you start playing, because you can do matchmaking, but after a couple of minutes, you start to know everybody. And so that's really the idea there. It's a safe haven for everybody, especially for women. And so that's something we're pushing pretty hard. And we just partner with Our Galaxy, powering really their women's competition, because that's really a good fit with our philosophy. Being a small team that know each other and provide the technology for everybody, whatever the hardware they have.
That's awesome. I in my other life hosted a podcast for specifically women in games to talk about toxicity. So that's a conversation that I've definitely been having with a lot of fellow gamers, which has been, so it's great to hear that that's one of the big factors. And I want to pick apart a little bit what you said also about this word community, because this is a word that's been super prevalent in the gaming industry, especially like the gaming industry is going through a bit of a rough period with investment. And I feel like a lot of companies, teams, people are really buckling down on this idea that you need to have a solid foundation, you need to have a solid group of people that support your product, and that the thing that's come up to encapsulate that is the word community. So when you're thinking about your product and what you're building, what does community mean to you, and how important is it in kind of your strategy for making Sonics a success?
I mean, it's key. It's really the center part here. But when you talk about community, I mean, either we make it like a gigantic community or a small group of friends. And we are more in the small group of friends community, where you can be inclusive, people can join you, etc. But at the end of the day, even if you look into Discord and what your server are on Discord, you may have 100 people. At the end, you're mainly talking to 20, 30 people. That's your closed loop. And so we really wanted to reproduce that. And again, linked to the latency. Latency is such that you get the feeling of being close to each other. It's kind of being in a bar, being in an internet cafe, being next to each other. And so you want to see your neighbor, you want to talk to them in a very natural way. And so that's really the philosophy there. And so the community as a whole around Sonics is built around this, and it's also built around the partnership that we're building with a key pro esport brand and also collegiate sport, in a sense that in our app, there will be two parts. One part, which is performance focus, latency, audio quality as well. I mean, we have the best audio quality on the market. That's thanks to our very own way of compressing the audio that takes the entire frequency range. So we don't lose information, we just compress the full information. And so that's very key. So the performance part, latency and audio quality. And on the other side, we've got the community part, which is small community, but also the branding part. So we have a capability for partners to brand to put their branding on an app directly. So if you're a big fan of, let's say, Carmine Corp or G2, by partnering with G2, you'll be able to import like all the background screen and support your fan and get the background on G2, get specific badges on G2 and so on. And that's really part of the community. We are kind of an extension of their community push from the pro esport side.
Wow, that's really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that. I want to lean over to the conference EsportsNext. One thing I'm excited about for your attendance is you're going to be participating in the elevator pitch competition. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your interest and what you're hoping to get out of the elevator pitch competition?
Yeah, it's get partnership. At the end, we are really much into the B2B relationship. The thing with Our Galaxy I mentioned before. I mean, I met Chantal at one of these events. This is what I met her 2 months ago, and we say we should do something together. And then 2 months later, boom, there's something happening there. And so this is the opportunity that I'm looking for. I did like level up in December for eSport Award. That was amazing. Everybody in the same place. You know, you could talk to a lot of people across the entire industry. So you have like pro esport team, but you have all the entire chain
Right.
of partner, and this is what is key for us as a company, because we want to ultimately, our app is for the end user, the casual gamers, but our go-to-market is really by partnering with pro esport organization, by collegiate esport organization, and with tournament organizer. And that's what I'm expecting at in Chicago.
And that will happen for sure. I can say that because I have seen our list of attendees, which is great. When you are thinking about preparing for the elevator pitch competition, you know, we've done this a couple of years in a row. It's a Shark Tank style competition. There's a whole panel of judges. What are you planning on doing to get yourself ready for that? Or are you just an old pro at delivering a 2-minute pitch at this point?
I did quite a bit of 2-minute pitch, because I mean we raise funds from a lot of investors, and so that's a typical thing for startups. In particular, the timeline fits really well because at this event we're going to release as well our open beta, and so that will be kind of highlight of the pitch, saying okay, now that's the plan to open the beta, everybody can download, and so that's the thing to be released at that time, and that's not the timing fit perfectly there. Yeah,
Love that. Who are the types of companies or the types of people that you're looking forward to meet at EsportsNext this year?
so I mean, it's really like the pro esport teams. That's the kind of team which we focus on, because I mean they are looking for technology edge. They're looking for any edge, not only during the competition but also during training period. No, like take optic gaming or G2. They have like Call of Duty team which are typically playing next to each other with kind of daisy chain, like latency is key for them. But they have a lot of teams that are just remote, because one guy is in Denmark, the other guy is in Los Angeles, and that's it, they live over there. So the issue there is that they train on a technology which is not as great as what they will experience during the LAN event. And so that high-end people is important for us, because providing and having them using Sonics just provide the leadership, like okay, the leader are using it. And this is happening right now. But it's happening with a couple of those right now, but we want to expand together with the open beta. And so that's one aspect. The other aspect is a competition organizer. I mean, that's something very key for us, because that's why we partner with our Galaxy, but we're also partnership in a pipeline right now, because it also shows that if your technology is used during competition, I mean that they are the best out there, and it's pretty straightforward, because at the end, competition organizers should provide the best tool to their player. Why they will provide a shitty old tool to them? I mean, just because this other tool has been financing them? No, I mean they should part of it, but at the end, their duty is to provide the best setup for the players that are traveling all the way to the LAN event and so on. And so we are there at EsportsNext also to meet those guys, to make a demo of this, to show testimonials. We have a lot of testimonials from pro esports right now, collegiate esports. We're very strong there, of people really loving the app right now and pushing everybody to use the app. I mean, step by step, but it's pushing up.
I love talking to founders who are super excited about the product they've created. Your excitement about it is very clear, which is so cool. And I want to zoom out a little bit, because you're someone who's currently building in the space. And we, as I alluded to earlier, there's been a lot of tough news cycles out there lately. There's this huge, increase in investment and interest during COVID, and that's definitely started to wane. And there's these bigger economic trends that are totally impacting the gaming industry. So I would love to hear from you as someone who's on the founder side, the startup side, And we are thinking about this too as we're planning a conference and trying to get people to come, and like all kinds of budgets are tighter this year, right? But
Yeah.
what are you seeing in terms of, let's talk about maybe 1 month down the road and then 1 year down the road or something like that. How are you feeling about the state of investment in the industry, and what's it like out there for people who are building right now?
No, I mean the investment industry and the finance behind it is tough for sure. It's much tighter than last year and the year before, which is, I mean, for a startup is, I mean, it gets complicated, but it's also very good. It's an opportunity there, because if you're a good startup with a good technology foundation and a good go-to-market, I mean, you still get financed. It's a bit harder, but you still get financed. And same thing goes with esport teams as well. I mean, you have esport teams that have been all over the place. Some esport teams are business focused, like, you know, like the other day, G2 mentioned that they are profitable since past 2 years. I mean, there's not so many of them, but meaning that it's doable. It's doable for pro esport team to be profitable. It's doable for startup to find investment if there's a good foundation. And that's an opportunity for us, because also pro esport team and collegiate esport are looking for a good partner, and they also looking to get a good partnership relationship with startup. You know, say that maybe 2 years ago, I mean, a sponsor or partner will come and just give money to a pro sport team, not having the expected return on investment. Right now, I guess it's specifically for us. I mean, they see the value in the product. They say, okay, we're going to use your product. So that's they test the product first. If they like it, then we start talking partnership. And that's only then. I mean, we go that way. It's a bit more risky for us, for sure, because they don't like it. You know, it never happened to date. But it's much more tighter relationship that we create, because they're going to use it, and for them using it and promoting it is just a little step. There's no need to push them. They just need to say, okay, we're using it, and this is what you like, this is what we don't like on this. But what we don't like, maybe it's a feature that is missing feature, and we're going to add it 6 months from now, 1 month from now. That's part of our roadmap. And that's the thing we discuss and a lot with our partner. Since we launched the product on a private stage 6 months ago. So we've been running 6 months of tests right now with hundreds of pro esport team, collegiate esports, and former pro gamers, where they've been testing the app, they've been providing a lot of feedback. And this is the way we want to work in a partnership mode, where we give them the tools, they give us feedback, you know, will be amazing to have this feature on top of it, or this feature in addition, and we're bringing them at higher priority in our roadmap. And so every deal, that's back to your question, I think the relationship that you see right now for us between even big pro esport, I mean, the guy with tens of millions of fans, and us, little startup, are not the same level, but very, very win-win. It's a win-win partnership. It's a partner. It's not a sponsorship. It's a partnership where we provide the solution for them to give an edge. They provide us feedback to be better, and so they can also promote it very easily to their fan base, because at the end we do a product not only for the pro, but for everybody.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for sharing that. You know, you have a very technology focused company, and I love when we can look at aspects of esports and how they have far ranging impacts. Talk a little bit about your experience of how esports is helping to drive innovation for some of these bigger tech companies.
Yeah, and so it's important to see. I mean, it's my background, first of all, is AR, VR. I mean, I spent like 15 years developing AR glasses. I mean, my former startup, my first startup, this technology is now in Google, and it's part of the Google next generation of Google Glass. So very, very happy about it. But what is clear, if you look into the entire, I mean, market, where people want to have interaction to other people through digital means from remote, and they don't want 2D screen. I mean, they want an immersive experience. An immersive experience means that you need to have some kind of AR glasses or VR glasses, some kind of real-time audio, and some kind of community type. And today, if you look into, I mean, where are the biggest metaverse? If you can make a big bucket of what is the metaverse, for me, a metaverse is just a digital environment where you can meet people, see people, talk to each other, and exchange. Right now, those environments where you have 200 million users is Fortnite. Fortnite is the biggest metaverse in the world. I mean, it's a bit limited because you cannot really talk to your neighbor and so on, but they made it such as a single proprietary, it's proprietary, but location, you have a lot of users. Look at the other metaverse on the other side, like with on Facebook, I mean, and other startup, they managed to create this entire world, but there's like a couple of 100,000 people there. So just today the best companies to create this digital immersive environment are gaming companies, because they know what to do, they know how to engage with their community, and some of them actually have a 3D rendering engine, which is even better. So combining this,
Right.
it's a really good set use. If you now put it on the other side, or the customer engagement and people engagement that Meta has, or maybe Microsoft have, you combine the two, and that can create a really appealing solution. But if it's really the gaming is providing a lot of technology push there. We need a couple of part of the puzzle, and part of the puzzle is this digital environment where you meet people, but also how you visualize those people in immersive, like 3D visual part, and how do you interact with the audio interaction. I mean, it's really 3 parts of the puzzle. We are one part, but we think it is a key part, because that can create the maximum engagement. We spend a lot of application where if you have a lag, that is pretty awkward. I mean, in this case here, it's working in Zoom, because I mean, most of the time people talk one after the other. But if you start to do something together, like singing together, like playing music together, like even gaming together, I mean, with this kind of lag, it looks super awkward, and you don't feel to be in the same place. And so in order for this digital environment to become really massive, and not niche, but really massive, you need to have the 3 part of the puzzle.
I love that you are dreaming about this, and we've seen. So that I say that because I am someone who spends a lot of time thinking about the future of the metaverse for sure, and we've seen such a rocky roller coaster lately with that, and even Facebook pulling back its, or rather Meta pulling back its huge investment in the metaverse and all of that. But I want to ask you instead a dreamer's question, and that is, what are you most excited, or what experience are you most excited to have in the metaverse in the future that we don't have right now?
Yeah, I think it's I'd be most excited to teleport yourself. I mean, teleport yourself in an arena. I mean, that's something we really dream for, both the gaming community and the music community. A bit, if you, as a little background, I mean, we started the company on latency part. We started and demonstrated in the music industry as well as in gaming. Because music is, you have 2 musicians playing remotely, you need to be extremely synchronized, like extremely, like beyond 20 milliseconds end to end. So we're not talking about a network, end to end, from my mouse to your ear. Beyond this point, it's a total no-go for musicians. And so what our dream is that you can have like hybrid setup, where you have maybe like 5 people in the same room playing games or playing music, and then with typically 100 viewers in an arena, or 1,000, doesn't matter. But at the same time, you can have like a guest star, playing music real time, because he's from UK, and you can have like remote people also online, providing audio feedback real time, not with a second delay, but with real time as if they were in the same room. So it's important for performers to feel the energy. And that's why having this virtual arena real time is super key, because you can really provide the energy. Take the example of singer, you can sing with your singer. And And for the fan, it's important to receive the feedback and feel that they are not alone in your living room, but you see your mate next to you, and you can exchange with your mate real time, and you can exchange with your performer on stage real time. So this hybrid arena is something that is pretty exciting for both sides, for performer side and for the fan side. I think this is really what we're driving at. So we are performers to performer tool right now. You're a gamer to gamer, musician to musician, but ultimately we also want to be performers to fan tool, because this is where you create maximum engagement. Let's take the example of Twitch. Twitch is a very interesting model because they show the model where a monodirectional engagement. I mean, I'm on Twitch, I'm a Twitcher, so I'm gonna speak. I'm speaking alone, actually. I'm speaking alone to my fan base, and my fan base can only do chat and emoji, which is good. I mean, some kind of level of interaction, but the issue you see on Twitch is that there's a lot of gamers switching. There are very few musicians because they want engagement and not chat and emoji engagement. They want audio engagement. And that's the next level. So this is where we see ourselves, providing audio, bidirectional audio engagement between performers and fans. And this is the second stage, but we get there.
Super cool.
That is super cool. It's so super exciting to see the innovation and the evolution of these technologies. We've talked about a number of things. We've talked about obviously the innovation of audio. We've talked about some sustainable business models with esports orgs. Where you're sitting today, where is a space where you think innovation greatly needs to happen for the good of the industry? Something that hasn't been figured out yet, or something that you kind of have on your radar to take on perhaps in one day?
Yeah, it's really for the, I think this is something we're building ourselves. I mean, the community side, the toxicity side, I think this hasn't been handled too much, not enough. I mean, just in words, but not in practice. Nothing is really protective for people. I think this is really key here. In terms of innovation, I think it's really getting more immersive visually and audio as well. I mean, there's some, we are very much an audio company ultimately, and we have, like, not to disclose anything on the roadmap, but there's something pretty nice happening, which is once you want to create an immersive environment, still with a headset here. The issue with the headset is that, I mean, you can do spatial audio, like left and right. That's what Apple is doing with the AirPod. That's okay, they give a bit of information, but what happens is that you want to create a distance effect. Because if you have a headset, I mean, the speakers are literally in your ear. So there's no, you don't perceive the distance. What you want to do is to recreate an experience where instead of having a speaker in your ear, you want to feel the speaker are like 10 feet away, 50 feet away, like in an arena. And you want to be able to teleport and to get the same immersive sound experience that in this specific arena, which has an acoustic very specific, or this other one, which is an acoustic, again, different. And so that's something we start to be able to do. I mean, we're partnering with some Swiss university specialized in acoustic to develop this new feature, and that's, we think, is the next level of immersion. Be able to get a full 3D immersive sound.
So then what have you thought about, I mean, we talked about Fortnite a little bit, but the Fortnite immersive experiences that have already happened, are you already thinking about ways we can improve upon those? Are those the best we can do right now? What was your experience with what Fortnite's done so far?
I think not only Fortnite, but I think what I like in the industry moving forward is that, I mean, first, the game are more team game. I mean, Riot said the other day that they want to put a bit of competitivity to every of their game. Competitivity means pretty straightforward, that you need to have multiple players. And so that's really good part of it. The second good part of it, and we see more and more games are doing, is user-generated content. And that's also helped to generating. I know my kids they're playing Minecraft, and they never play Minecraft. I mean, they always play the creation part, and it's amazing. And I like them to play because they can start to brainstorm, to develop their 3D view on things, their design skill, and so on. And so this is a big trend where both the industry is happy to see, because user-generated content means more content provided kind of for free, because developed by users themselves to their tool. And for the other user means more novel, creative environment. So it's really a win-win. And that's, I think that's pretty nice to see the industry is moving forward in this direction.
We really appreciate that insight there. As people are listening to this episode and looking forward to connecting with you in person at EsportsNext, both hearing your elevator pitch, of course, at the pitch competition, but also getting together and having one-on-one conversations, how can people get in touch with you ahead of time in the ways that you would like them to?
Yeah, so I mean, the best thing is to contact me on LinkedIn. So the two things you can do before: contact me on LinkedIn, and secondly, you can register for being a beta testers on sonixapp.com.
Cool.
And that's the two best way to get in touch with me.
Great. And Sonix app is SONIX APP.
Exactly. Yes.
Right? So
exactly.
Just so people type it in correctly there. Well, Nick, thank you so much for being with us today. It's so amazing to hear what you've accomplished, what you're working on, and your unique insights in the industry. I know both Lindsay and I really enjoyed the conversation, and I think our attendees are going to just absolutely love learning more about what you're doing at the EsportsNext conference in Chicago.
Thank you very much. Thank you.